My name is Emily. I'm 32 years old, and I thought I had a perfect life. I stayed up all night waiting for my husband to come home. When he finally did, I smelled a perfume I didn't recognize, and my world began to unravel. 2. Set the scene. Establish normalcy. Jason and I had been married for 7 years. We met in college. He was the guy everyone wanted to know, and somehow he chose me. Our life together felt like a dream. We had a cozy home, weekend picnics at the park, and a sweet little boy named Noah who adored his father. Every Sunday morning, Jason made pancakes and we'd eat together as a family while music played softly in the background. It wasn't extravagant, but it was ours, and I cherished it. Looking back now, I realize how many moments I took for granted. His warm smile across the breakfast table, the way he tucked Noah in at night, whispering stories that made our son laugh. I thought those moments were permanent. I thought they were mine. It started with the late nights. Jason said work was piling up at the firm and he needed to stay late to meet deadlines. At first, I didn't question it. He was ambitious, driven, traits I admired in him. But then came the phone calls he'd take in another room, the sudden weekend errands that couldn't wait, little things that didn't add up but felt too small to confront. One evening, as I folded laundry, his phone buzzed on the counter. A message flashed across the screen. "Miss you already." My stomach clenched. My hands froze mid-fold. I told myself it was innocent. Maybe a coworker, maybe a joke. But my mind raced with possibilities I couldn't ignore. When he came home that night, I asked him casually, "How was work?" He didn't meet my eyes when he answered. "Busy," he said, his voice flat. And then I smelled it, the faint floral scent clinging to his jacket. It wasn't mine. The next morning I found myself searching. I hated that I'd become this person, sneaking through his pockets, checking his call logs, but something inside me was screaming for answers. That's when I found the receipts. Dinners at expensive restaurants we'd never been to, flowers delivered to an address I didn't recognize. I confronted him that night. "Jason, who is she?" My voice trembled, and I hated how small I felt in that moment. He looked at me, startled, like a deer caught in headlights. "What are you talking about?" he said, too quickly, too defensively. I showed him the receipts. His face hardened. "You've been going through my things?" he snapped. "Do you not trust me?" The irony of his accusation was almost laughable. Days turned into weeks of tension so thick it felt like I was suffocating. He denied everything, but the lies were piling up faster than I could unravel them. And then, one afternoon, I followed him. I'd told myself I wouldn't, that I didn't want to know, but the need for truth outweighed my fear. He drove across town to a quiet neighborhood I'd never been to. I parked a block away and watched as he walked up to a small blue house. The door opened, and a woman greeted him with a kiss. A little girl, no older than 5, ran into his arms, squealing, "Daddy!" My world shattered in that instant. He didn't just have another woman, he had another family. I don't remember driving home. My hands shook so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. By the time I made it back, I was gasping for air, the weight of betrayal crushing me. I locked myself in the bathroom and slid down the cold tile wall, tears streaming uncontrollably. How could he do this? To me? To Noah? My mind raced with questions that had no answers. Was I not enough? Had our life meant so little to him? The image of that little girl calling him Daddy played on a loop in my head, tearing me apart piece by piece. That night, when Jason came home, I couldn't even look at him. He tried to talk to me, but the words caught in my throat. Finally, I managed to whisper, "I know." He froze, and in that moment I saw the man I thought I loved crumble. "Emily, I can explain," he began, but I held up my hand. "Don't. Just don't." My voice broke. "You have another family, another child, and you lied to me, to us." He didn't deny it. That hurt more than anything. It's been 6 months since that night. Jason moved out, though he still sees Noah on weekends. He's trying to rebuild something with me, to explain, to apologize. But how do you forgive someone who tore your life apart? Some days I feel strong, like I can move forward and rebuild for myself and Noah. Other days the pain feels unbearable, the questions unending. Will Noah grow up resenting his father? Will I ever trust again? And the hardest question of all, was there something I could have done to stop this? I don't have the answers. Maybe I never will. But I do know this. I'm stronger than I thought I was. And even if my world has changed forever, I'm still here, still standing. For now, that has to be enough. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us share more raw, emotional stories like this one. Thank you for listening.